The Korean Mafia boss grabbed Maya's hand mid-waltz and said 5 words that stopped her heart. "He'll kill you. I won't." She froze. The ballroom spun around her, all crystal chandeliers and designer gowns and the kind of old money that smelled like champagne and blood. Daniel Kim, her charming boyfriend of 6 months, stood 3 feet away, his smile still perfect, his hand still extended like he expected her to return to his arms. But his older brother, Ryan Kim, the head of the family business, wasn't letting go. "What?" Maya whispered, her pulse hammering against Ryan's calloused thumb where it pressed against her wrist. "You heard me." Ryan's voice was gravel and smoke, low enough that the 50 guests in the Kim Estate ballroom couldn't hear. "Keep dancing with Daniel and you'll end up like the last woman he brought home. Do you know what happened to Catherine Chen?" Maya's stomach dropped. "Daniel said she went back to England." "Daniel lies." Ryan's dark eyes burned into hers with an intensity that felt like a physical grip around her throat. "Catherine is buried in the East Garden, under the cherry tree, the one he told you was his favorite spot for morning coffee." The room tilted. This couldn't be real. Daniel was charming, sweet, attentive. He'd spent 6 months courting her carefully, buying her small gifts, learning about her Harlem childhood, asking about her dreams of expanding her language studio. He'd made her feel seen in a way no man ever had. And now his brother, this dangerous, scarred stranger in a black suit that fit like a weapon, was telling her that her boyfriend was a murderer. "You're insane," Maya hissed, trying to yank her hand back. Ryan held firm. "Look at his eyes. Really look." Against every instinct, Maya turned her head. Daniel stood exactly where he'd been, still smiling, but his eyes, God, his eyes had gone flat, empty, like a shark's eyes. Like he was calculating something, and his right hand, previously extended in invitation, had dropped to his side, close to his jacket, where Maya suddenly remembered noticing a strange bulge earlier that she'd convinced herself was just his phone. "He's not reaching for his phone," Ryan said, reading her face with terrifying accuracy. "That's a Glock 19. He's carried it to every family dinner for 3 years, since he killed his last girlfriend and got away with it." Maya's knees went weak. "Why are you telling me this?" Her voice cracked. "If he's so dangerous, why would you warn me? Why not just let him? Because my nephew talks to you." Ryan's jaw tightened, and for a split second, something almost human flickered across his brutal features. "Minjun hasn't spoken to anyone in 2 years, not since he watched Daniel do something a child should never see. But he talks to you, which means you're good, which means you don't deserve what Daniel has planned." The orchestra swelled into a crescendo. Around them, couples spun in elegant patterns, oblivious. This entire nightmare was unfolding in the middle of a party, surrounded by witnesses who couldn't see the knife being pressed against Maya's throat. "What does he have planned?" Maya forced the words out. Ryan leaned closer. His mouth brushed the shell of her ear, and the heat of him made her shiver, despite the terror coursing through her veins. "He's framing you for embezzlement from the family accounts. He's been setting it up for months, giving you access codes under the guise of helping with Minjun's lessons. When the audit happens next week, all evidence will point to you. You'll be arrested. And while you're being processed, while you're vulnerable and alone in a holding cell—" Ryan's grip on her wrist tightened almost to the point of pain. "Accidents happen in lockup, especially to women who've stolen from powerful families." Maya stopped breathing. No, Daniel wouldn't. Daniel has done this twice before. Catherine was the second. The first was a paralegal named Sofia Rodriguez. Look her up. Died in county jail awaiting trial. Ruled a suicide. Ryan finally released her wrist, but his eyes never left hers. "You have 2 choices. Run right now and pray you can disappear before he finds you. Or trust me, play along, and let me dismantle him from the inside." "Trust you?" Maya's laugh came out broken. "I don't even know you." "No, but in 30 seconds Daniel is going to walk over here and ask what we're talking about. And depending on what you say, you'll either survive this night or you won't." Ryan straightened to his full height, and Maya realized for the first time how much bigger he was than his brother. Broader through the shoulders, built like something designed to endure rather than charm. So choose quickly, Maya Torres, the wrong brother or the one who's trying to save your life. "Ryan!" Daniel's voice cut through the music like a blade. He'd crossed the distance between them, and his smile was still perfect, but there was murder in his eyes. "I see you've met my Maya. I hope you're not boring her with business talk." Maya's heart slammed against her ribs. Every instinct screamed to run, to grab her purse and sprint for the exit, to call the police, to do anything except stand here between two brothers who both terrified her for completely different reasons. But Minjun's face flashed in her mind. The 7-year-old boy with trauma in his eyes who'd finally started speaking again during their lessons, who'd whispered last week, "You're nice. I hope you don't go away like Miss Catherine." She'd thought he meant Catherine had quit. Now she knew better. Maya lifted her chin and met Ryan's gaze. She didn't say anything. Didn't have to. He saw the decision in her eyes, and something dark and satisfied crossed his scarred face. "Actually," Maya heard herself say, turning to Daniel with a smile that felt like shattered glass, "Ryan was just telling me how much he's looking forward to getting to know me better, since we're practically family now." She held up her left hand where Daniel had slipped his grandmother's engagement ring just 3 days ago. The ruby caught the light like a drop of blood. Daniel's smile widened. "We are family. Isn't that right, Hyung?" "Yes," Ryan said softly, and the words sounded like a promise and a threat. "We're all family here." The orchestra launched into another waltz. Daniel reached for Maya's hand, and it took everything in her not to flinch when his fingers, the fingers that had maybe killed 2 women, closed around hers. "Shall we finish our dance?" Daniel asked. Maya let him pull her back onto the floor. Over his shoulder, she watched Ryan disappear into the crowd, his black suit swallowing him like smoke. And as Daniel spun her in perfect circles, his hand possessive on her waist, his breath hot against her neck, Maya realized with crystal clarity that she'd just made a deal with a devil to escape a demon. She just wasn't sure which brother was which. The music played on, beautiful, elegant, absolutely lethal, just like everything else in the Kim family's world, and Maya Torres, language tutor from Harlem, was now dancing at the center of a nightmare she didn't know how to escape. Maya survived the gala by pretending she wasn't drowning. She smiled at Daniel's aunts. She made small talk with his cousins. She ate 7-course meals that tasted like ash and drank wine that burned like gasoline. And every time Daniel touched her, kissed her cheek, called her baby with that perfect boyfriend voice, she wanted to claw her own skin off. But she played her part. Because Ryan had told her to play along. Because Minjun was counting on her. Because the alternative was a jail cell and an accident that would make her mother bury her only daughter. The worst part? Daniel was exactly the same as before. He texted her good morning. He asked about her day. He brought her favorite coffee to the studio. If Maya hadn't heard Ryan's warning, if she hadn't seen that shark-eyed calculation during the waltz, she would have married this man. She would have walked straight into her own murder. 3 days after the gala, Daniel asked her to move into the Kim estate. "Just temporarily," he said, sitting across from her at a cafe in Brooklyn, his hand covering hers on the table. "My grandmother wants to get to know you better before the wedding. It's tradition. You'd have your own suite, complete privacy, and you could still teach Min Jun his lessons." Maya's throat closed. Moving into that house meant giving up her last escape route. It meant being surrounded by Daniel's family, his security, his control 24 hours a day. It meant being exactly where Ryan needed her to be. "Okay," she heard herself say. "When?" Daniel's smile could have melted ice. "This weekend. I'll send a car." The car arrived on Saturday. Black SUV, tinted windows, driver who didn't speak. Maya packed 1 suitcase, told her mother she was house-sitting for a client, and climbed into the vehicle that felt like a hearse. The Kim estate looked different in daylight. Less fortress, more prison. High walls topped with cameras disguised as decorative ironwork, guards in expensive suits patrolling the grounds with Bluetooth earpieces and concealed weapons. The cherry tree in the East Garden, where Catherine Chen's body was allegedly buried, swaying in the autumn breeze like nothing was wrong. Maya's suite was on the 3rd floor. 4 rooms, private balcony, decorated in shades of cream and gold that probably cost more than her yearly rent. Beautiful. Suffocating. Equipped with cameras she spotted immediately in the smoke detectors and wall art. She was being watched. Always. That first night, Maya couldn't sleep. She lay in silk sheets that felt like a burial shroud and stared at the ceiling until her phone buzzed at 2 a.m. Unknown number, library, 3rd floor, East Wing, come alone. Her hands shook as she read it. This was either Ryan or a trap, maybe both. Maya dressed in dark clothing and slipped into the hallway. The house was silent, but she felt eyes everywhere. Cameras, guards. Maybe Daniel himself, watching her through security feeds, waiting for her to make a mistake. The library was exactly where the text said. 2 stories of books, leather furniture, stained glass windows that looked black in the darkness, and Ryan standing by the fireplace like a shadow given human form. "You came," he said quietly. "You said he'll kill me. What choice do I have?" Maya closed the door behind her, heart hammering. "Are you going to tell me what's actually happening? Because right now I'm trusting a man I don't know, living in a house where someone is buried in the garden and engaged to a psychopath who's framing me for embezzlement." Not just embezzlement. Ryan moved closer, and Maya saw the exhaustion in his face. This man didn't sleep much. "Daniel is planning a coup. He wants control of the family empire. To do that, he needs to discredit me and my father. The embezzlement frame makes you the perfect scapegoat. When the family discovers you've been stealing, Daniel plays the heartbroken victim. The family rallies around him. My father looks incompetent for not catching it sooner, and I look weak for not protecting family assets. So I'm collateral damage in your family power struggle." "Yes." No hesitation, no apology, just brutal honesty. "But you're also the key to stopping him." "How?" Ryan pulled out his phone and showed her a photograph, a young woman with blonde hair and wire-rimmed glasses smiling at the camera. Professional, pretty, alive. "Catherine Chen," Ryan said. "Daniel's girlfriend before you. She was Minjun's tutor. Like you, she was given access codes to family systems for educational purposes. Like you, Daniel showered her with gifts and promises. And when she started noticing irregularities in the financial documents, when she asked too many questions, Daniel took her for a walk in the garden. She never came back." Maya's stomach heaved. "You have proof?" "I have Minjun's testimony. He watched from his bedroom window. 7 years old, and he watched Daniel strangle a woman and bury her under the cherry tree." Ryan's voice went cold. "That's why he stopped talking. Until you." "Jesus Christ!" Maya pressed her hands to her face. "Why didn't you stop him? Why didn't you go to the police?" "Because this family doesn't go to the police. We handle problems internally." Ryan caught her wrists, pulling her hands away from her face, forcing her to look at him. "And because Daniel is smart. He cleaned up perfectly. No body that we can exhume without explaining why we're digging up the garden. No forensics. No witnesses except a traumatized child whose testimony wouldn't hold up in any court. So you're using me as bait. I'm using you as evidence." He released her wrists but didn't step back. "The embezzlement scheme requires digital fingerprints, records of you accessing accounts, transferring funds, covering tracks. Daniel has been building that paper trail for months, but he's been sloppy because he's arrogant. If I can get you to document everything, every access code he gives, every time he asks you to log into systems, every instruction he provides, I can prove he's framing you. And once I prove that, I can connect it to Catherine's disappearance, then to Sofia Rodriguez, then to 2 other women whose deaths look suspicious in hindsight." 4 women? Maya's voice cracked. "He's killed 4 women?" "That I know of." Ryan's jaw tightened. "Daniel has a pattern. He chooses women outside our world, women who are smart, capable, independent, women who could threaten him if they knew too much. He seduces them, isolates them, traps them, and eliminates them. You fit his profile perfectly." The room spun. Maya grabbed the back of a leather chair to steady herself. "Why me specifically? There are thousands of tutors in New York." "Because Minjun liked you, and Daniel needs Minjun compliant and silent." Ryan moved to the window, staring out at the garden where Catherine's body lay. "My nephew is the only witness to murder. As long as Minjun stays quiet, Daniel is safe. But if Minjun ever speaks, ever tells someone what he saw, Daniel's entire plan collapses. So Daniel needed someone Minjun would trust, someone who could keep him calm, keep him distracted, keep him from talking to therapists or teachers or anyone who might believe him. I'm not just a scapegoat, I'm a babysitter for his witness." "Yes." Maya sank into the chair, her legs giving out. This was so much worse than she'd imagined. She wasn't just caught in a power struggle. She was a calculated piece in a serial killer's game. "What do you want me to do?" she whispered. "Keep playing the perfect girlfriend. Document everything. And in 2 weeks, at the family board meeting, when Daniel presents his case against me, you're going to be my star witness." Ryan turned from the window, and the expression on his scarred face was something between promise and threat. "You're going to testify to exactly what he's done. You're going to help me destroy him. And if I don't survive 2 weeks?" Ryan crossed the room in 3 strides and crouched in front of her chair, bringing himself to eye level. Up close, she could see the scars on his throat, the ones that disappeared beneath his collar. Signs of violence survived. "Then I'll burn this entire house down with him inside it," Ryan said quietly. "And I'll make sure Min-jun knows his uncle avenged the nice teacher who actually cared about him." It should have terrified her. Instead, it felt like the first honest promise anyone had made her in months. 2 weeks, Maya repeated. 2 weeks. Can you survive that long? She thought of Catherine Chen, smiling in that photograph, not knowing she had weeks to live. She thought of Sofia Rodriguez, dead in a jail cell, blamed for crimes she didn't commit. She thought of 2 other nameless women who'd trusted the wrong brother. "I don't have a choice," Maya said. "No," Ryan agreed. "You don't." He stood and walked toward the library door, then paused at the threshold. "Maya." She looked up. "If something goes wrong, if Daniel moves faster than I expect, there's a burner phone taped under the desk in your suite. It has 1 number programmed. Mine. Call it and I'll come. Understand?" She nodded, not trusting her voice. Ryan left without another word, and Maya sat alone in the library, surrounded by books and silence and the weight of 4 dead women's ghosts. 14 days until the board meeting. 14 days to survive a killer who kissed her goodnight and called her baby and planned to make her body number 5. The clock was ticking. Daniel proposed at breakfast, not the proposal from 3 weeks ago with his grandmother's ruby ring. That had been stage 1, the public claim, the family announcement. This was something else entirely. Maya sat across from him in the sunlit breakfast room, picking at eggs she couldn't taste, when Daniel slid a manila envelope across the table. "What's this?" she asked. "Our future." His smile was warm, genuine, the smile of a man in love. "Open it." Inside were legal documents, prenuptial agreement, life insurance policy, joint bank account applications, all requiring her signature, all dated for today. "I know it's not romantic," Daniel said, reaching across to take her hand, "but my father insists on protecting family assets. Standard procedure for anyone marrying into the Kim family. Sign these, and we're officially 1 step closer to forever." Maya's hands trembled as she flipped through pages of legal jargon. Buried in paragraph 7 of the prenup was the clause that made her blood freeze. In the event of criminal investigation or charges against either party, all shared assets revert to the Kim family estate, and the non-family spouse forfeits all claims to legal defense funding provided by family attorneys. He was cutting off her escape routes. If she got arrested for the embezzlement he was framing her for, she'd face charges alone. Broke. Defenseless. Exactly where he needed her. "This seems really one-sided," Maya said carefully, keeping her voice light. "I don't get anything if we divorce." "We're not going to divorce." Daniel squeezed her hand. "But if you want the lawyers to revise anything, we can. I just need the insurance policy signed today. The accountant requires it for tax purposes. The life insurance policy named Daniel as sole beneficiary. $5 million if Maya died. Accidental death paid double. She was literally signing her own death warrant." "Can I think about it?" Maya asked. Daniel's smile never wavered, but his grip on her hand tightened. Just slightly. Just enough to hurt. "Of course. Take all the time you need." He released her and stood, buttoning his suit jacket. "I have meetings all day, but maybe we can discuss it tonight, over dinner, just the 2 of us?" "That sounds perfect." He kissed her forehead, and Maya forced herself not to flinch. The moment he left the room, she grabbed the envelope and ran. The library was her only safe space. The cameras there had blind spots Ryan had shown her, corners where they could talk without being recorded. Maya found that corner now and pulled out her phone. No messages. Ryan had gone dark for 3 days, and Maya was starting to think he'd abandoned her to whatever Daniel had planned. Then the library door opened. But it wasn't Ryan. It was Min-jun. The 7-year-old stood in the doorway clutching his tablet, his eyes too old for his small face. He looked at Maya, then at the envelope in her hands, then back at her face. "He gave you papers," Min-jun said, quietly. It wasn't a question. Maya's throat closed. Yes. How did you? He gave Miss Catherine papers too, the day before she went to the garden. Minjun stepped into the library and closed the door behind him with the careful precision of a child who'd learned to move silently through dangerous spaces. She signed them. Then Uncle Daniel took her for a walk. She never came back. Maya sank into the nearest chair, her legs giving out. Minjun, I need you to tell me exactly what you saw that night. Can you do that? The boy's hands tightened on his tablet. For a long moment, Maya thought he'd retreat into the selective mutism that had defined him for 2 years. But then he took a shaking breath and spoke. It was late. I couldn't sleep. I went to my window because sometimes I see rabbits in the garden at night. His voice was mechanical, rehearsed, like he'd told himself this story 1,000 times to make sense of it. Miss Catherine and Uncle Daniel were walking by the cherry tree. She was crying. He was holding her arm really tight. She tried to run, but he caught her. He put his hands around her neck. She stopped moving. Then he started digging. Tears streamed down Minjun's face, but his voice never wavered. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell someone. But Uncle Daniel looked up at my window. He saw me watching. He smiled and put his finger to his lips. Like this. Minjun mimicked the gesture, finger pressed to his mouth in a shushing motion. Then he came to my room. He sat on my bed. He said if I ever told anyone what I saw, the same thing would happen to Halmione, to my parents, to anyone I loved. He said it would be my fault because I couldn't keep a secret. Oh, sweetheart. Maya pulled the child into her arms, feeling him shake against her chest. That's not true. None of that is your fault. Do you understand me? What Daniel did, that's on him, not you. But Miss Catherine died because I didn't stop him. Miss Catherine died because your uncle is a very bad man, and we're going to stop him from hurting anyone else. Maya pulled back to look at Minjun's tear-stained face. But I need you to be brave a little longer. Can you do that? Minjun nodded, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand. Where's Uncle Ryan? Maya asked. Have you seen him? He's in Seoul, emergency business trip. He left yesterday. Minjun's expression darkened. Uncle Daniel made him go. I heard them fighting. Uncle Ryan didn't want to leave, but grandfather ordered it. Maya's stomach dropped. Ryan was gone. She was alone in this house with a serial killer who wanted her to sign documents that would seal her fate, and her only ally was a traumatized 7-year-old. Okay, Maya said, forcing her voice to stay calm. Okay, we're going to be smart about this. Did Uncle Ryan leave you anything? A phone number? A way to contact him? Minjun shook his head. But he told me if anything bad happened, I should go to the panic room in the basement. He said there's a phone there that calls the police directly. He made me memorize the code. The boy recited 6 numbers with perfect precision. Good, that's really good. Maya's mind raced. She had maybe hours before Daniel expected an answer about the documents. If she refused to sign, he'd know something was wrong. If she signed, she was giving him everything he needed to kill her and get away with it. She needed a third option. Minjun, I need you to do something very important. Can you take pictures of these documents with your tablet? All of them. Every page. The boy nodded and got to work, his small fingers swiping through pages while the tablet camera clicked softly. When he finished, he looked up at Maya with those ancient eyes. Are you going to sign them? I don't know yet. Maya folded the documents carefully and slid them back into the envelope. But whatever I do, I need you to stay close to your grandmother today. Don't go anywhere alone. Don't eat or drink anything unless Halmione approves it first. Understand? You think Uncle Daniel will hurt me? I think your uncle is desperate, and desperate people do dangerous things. Maya cupped the boy's face gently. But I also think your Uncle Ryan is coming back, and when he does, we're going to end this, together. Minjun hugged her fiercely, his small body trembling. I don't want you to go to the garden. I'm not going anywhere. Maya held him tight, making a promise she had no idea if she could keep. I swear. After Minjun left, Maya sat alone in the library with the envelope in her hands and a choice that felt impossible. Sign the documents and become a sitting duck. Refuse and tip Daniel off that she knew his plan. Run and abandon Minjun to a killer who'd already proven he'd murder to keep the boy silent. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Unknown. Don't sign anything. I'm coming back tonight. Stay in public spaces. Don't be alone with him. Our relief flooded through her so intensely she almost sobbed. Ryan was coming back. She just had to survive until tonight. Maya deleted the message and stood, smoothing her dress, preparing to play her role for a few more hours. She'd tell Daniel she needed her lawyer to review the documents. That would buy time. It had to. She made it to the library door before it opened from the other side. Daniel stood there, his smile perfectly in place, but his eyes flat and cold. "There you are," he said softly. "I've been looking everywhere for you, baby. We need to talk about those documents, right now." Behind him, Maya could see 2 security guards, blocking the hallway, blocking her exit. She was trapped. "Of course," Maya heard herself say, her voice remarkably steady despite the terror flooding her veins. "I was just reviewing them one more time." "Good." Daniel stepped into the library and closed the door. The lock clicked with a sound like a coffin ceiling. "Because we're going to sign them together, today. And then, my love, we're going to take a walk in the garden. I want to show you my favorite spot under the cherry tree." The room tilted. "It's supposed to rain," Maya said desperately. "Maybe tomorrow would be better." "No." Daniel's smile widened, showing too many teeth. "I really think it should be today." Maya had 4 hours to live. She knew this with the certainty of prey recognizing a predator's killing strike. Daniel's smile, his gentle voice, the way he guided her through the mansion with a hand on her lower back, all of it screamed finality. This was endgame. "Sign here," Daniel said, spreading the documents across his private office desk. "And here, an initial here." His office had no windows, 1 door, 2 security guards outside. Maya's hands shook as she picked up the pen, her mind scrambling for escape routes that didn't exist. She thought of Catherine Chen, signing similar papers, walking to the garden, never walking back. "You seem nervous," Daniel observed, his tone conversational. "Cold feet about the wedding?" "Just overwhelmed." Maya forced a smile. "This is a lot of legal language. It's standard protection for both of us." He moved behind her chair, his hands settling on her shoulders. Possessive, threatening. "Once you sign, you're officially family, protected, provided for, loved." Buried under the cherry tree, Maya's brain supplied. She signed. Every page, every initial, because refusing meant dying right now instead of in 4 hours, and 4 hours meant time for Ryan to arrive, for something to change, for a miracle she didn't believe in. Perfect. Daniel gathered the papers with satisfaction. "Now, let's take that walk. The garden is beautiful this time of day." "Actually, I promised Minjun I'd help with his Korean lesson at 3. Maya stood, backing toward the door. "Can we do the garden tour later? Maybe after dinner?" Daniel's hand shot out, catching her wrist. Not hard enough to bruise, just hard enough to stop her escape. "Minjun can wait," he said softly. "This can't." He pulled her toward the door, and Maya's mind went blank with terror. She was out of time, out of options. Ryan wasn't here. The panic room was 2 floors down. Even if she screamed, who would help her? The security guards worked for the Kim family. The staff followed orders. Daniel's grandmother was in Seoul with Ryan, handling emergency business that Maya now suspected was manufactured to leave her vulnerable. She was alone. They walked through the mansion's marble halls, Daniel's grip never loosening on her wrist. Staff members they passed looked away, their faces carefully blank. They knew. They all knew what happened to women who walked into the East Garden with Daniel Kim. The garden entrance loomed ahead, glass doors leading to manicured paths, and the cherry tree that marked Catherine's grave. Maya's heels clicked against marble, each step a countdown. 10 steps. 9. 8. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. Daniel stopped. "Give me your phone." "What?" "Your phone. Give it to me." His smile never wavered. "No distractions during our special moment." Maya's blood turned to ice. The burner phone Ryan had hidden in her suite was still there, useless. Her regular phone was her last connection to the outside world. Once Daniel took it, she'd have no way to call for help. She pulled it out with trembling hands. One new message lit up the screen before Daniel snatched it away. Unknown. East Garden. Cherry tree. 3 p.m. Police raid. Exhumation warrant. Keep him talking. Our Daniel saw it. She watched his face transform from charming boyfriend to something cold and reptilian. The mask finally dropped completely. "Clever," he said quietly. "My brother is cleverer than I gave him credit for. And you've been playing me this whole time." Daniel, I can explain. His hand cracked across her face with enough force to snap her head sideways. Maya tasted blood, her vision exploding with stars. You stupid bitch. Daniel's voice was conversational, almost pleasant. Do you have any idea what you've done? What he's done, a police raid, an exhumation. That requires warrants, evidence, testimony. How much did you tell him? Nothing, Maya gasped, her cheek on fire. I didn't tell him anything. Liar. Daniel grabbed her throat, slamming her against the glass door. His thumb pressed against her windpipe, cutting off air. Min-jun, my nephew couldn't keep his mouth shut after all. And you encouraged him, didn't you? Drew it out of him like the manipulative whore you are. Black spots danced across Maya's vision. She clawed at Daniel's hand, but he was stronger, angrier, past the point of careful murder in a garden. He was going to kill her, right here in the hallway. Daniel! The voice boomed from behind them. Release her, now! Daniel's grip loosened just enough for Maya to drag in a desperate breath. She turned her head and saw Ryan's father, Kim Jae-sung, standing in the hallway. The family patriarch looked ancient and exhausted, but his voice carried absolute authority. Father, Daniel said smoothly, not releasing Maya's throat. Perfect timing. I just discovered that Maya has been working with Ryan to frame me for embezzlement. She's been manipulating Min-jun, feeding him false memories about Catherine Chen. It's elaborate, really. Almost admirable. Is that why police are currently at our gate with an exhumation warrant? Jae-sung's expression was granite. Is that why Ryan is with them, along with a prosecutor from the Southern District and a forensics team? Daniel's hand fell away from Maya's throat. She collapsed against the glass door, coughing, gasping. That's impossible, Daniel said. There's no evidence, no body, nothing that could justify Min-jun's testimony, Maya's documentation of the embezzlement frame, Catherine Chen's DNA recovered from your car trunk by Ryan's private investigator. Jae-sung's voice was tired. And Sofia Rodriguez's suicide note, which forensics proved was written under duress with your fingerprints on the pen. Did you really think you were untouchable? Daniel laughed. Actually laughed. You're bluffing. Min-jun is 7. His testimony is worthless. Maya's documentation is circumstantial at best. And Sofia Rodriguez died 2 years ago. Any evidence from her death is long contaminated. You're right, Jae-sung said, which is why Ryan spent the last 6 months building an airtight case. He anticipated every defense. He documented everything. And when that wasn't enough, he made a deal with the FBI. Your little embezzlement scheme, it crossed state lines, federal jurisdiction. They've been investigating you for months. The color drained from Daniel's face. No, you wouldn't. I'm your son. You're a murderer. Jae-sung's voice cracked with something that might have been grief. 4 women, Daniel. 4 innocent women. And you would have made it 5 if Ryan hadn't intervened. So yes, I turned over everything to the FBI. The family lawyers are already prepared. You'll face trial alone. Father, please. Security, Jae-sung called. 4 guards appeared from the hallway. Detain my son. Do not let him leave the premises. Daniel moved fast. He lunged for Maya, grabbing her arm, yanking her in front of him as a human shield. His other hand produced a gun from his jacket, pressing the barrel against her temple. Nobody moves, Daniel snarled, or I kill her right here. Maya's legs went liquid. The cold metal against her skin was real. This was happening. She was going to die in this hallway, and there was nothing anyone could do to stop it. Daniel. Ryan's voice came from the garden entrance behind them. Let her go. Maya's eyes flooded with tears. Ryan stood in the doorway, silhouetted against afternoon light. He wore tactical gear, an FBI vest, his own weapon drawn and aimed at his brother's head. You ruined everything, Daniel hissed. This was supposed to be mine. The company, the family, the power, all of it. But you couldn't let me have anything, could you? Perfect Ryan? Noble Ryan? Father's favorite son. I was protecting the family from you, Ryan said quietly. There's a difference. You were jealous. Daniel's voice climbed with hysteria. You wanted Maya for yourself. Admit it. That's what this is really about. No. Ryan's eyes met Maya's across the distance. This is about stopping you before you killed again. Maya is just the woman brave enough to help me do it. Brave? Daniel laughed, the gun shaking against Maya's temple. She's terrified. Look at her. She's pathetic. Maya felt something shift inside her. The fear was still there, overwhelming and absolute. But underneath it was fury. rage at being used, threatened, beaten, held at gunpoint in a mansion full of people who could have stopped Daniel years ago. "You're right," Maya said, her voice steadier than she felt. "I am terrified, but I'm also done being your victim." She dropped her full weight suddenly, falling straight down. Daniel's grip loosened in surprise, and the gun jerked upward. Ryan fired. The gunshot was deafening in the enclosed space. Daniel screamed, his weapon clattering to the marble floor. He clutched his shoulder, blood seeping between his fingers. Security guards swarmed him, pinning him down while he thrashed and cursed. Maya lay on the floor, her ears ringing, her body shaking with adrenaline. Then Ryan was there, kneeling beside her, his hands checking her for injuries with frantic efficiency. "Are you hurt?" His voice was rough. "I'm okay." Maya grabbed his vest, holding on like he was the only solid thing in a tilting world. "You came. You actually came." "I promised you 2 weeks. It's only been 1. His hands framed her face, his thumbs brushing away tears she didn't know she was crying. "I keep my promises, Maya." Behind them, FBI agents flooded the mansion. Someone was reading Daniel his rights. Someone else was calling for forensics. The East Garden would be excavated. Catherine's body would be recovered. Justice would finally happen. But in that moment, Maya only saw Ryan, the dangerous brother, the one who'd warned her, the one who'd saved her. "Thank you," she whispered. "Don't thank me yet." His jaw tightened. "You still have to testify. This trial is going to be hell." "I know." Maya managed a broken smile. "But at least I'll be alive for it." The trial lasted 6 weeks and destroyed Maya's life piece by piece. Daniel's lawyers were sharks in $1,000 suits. They painted her as a scorned lover, a gold digger, a manipulative outsider who'd seduced her way into the Kim family to steal their wealth. They brought up her student loans, her modest background, her mother's bankruptcy filing from 5 years ago. They made her poverty sound like evidence of criminal intent. "Isn't it true, Miss Torres," Daniel's lead attorney asked during cross-examination, "that you specifically targeted Daniel Kim because of his family's wealth?" Maya sat in the witness box, her hands clenched in her lap, cameras broadcasting her face to every news outlet in the country. The Kim family trial was the media event of the year. Billionaire heir, multiple murders, the tutor who'd brought him down. "No," Maya said clearly. "I tutored his nephew because I'm good at my job." "A job that gave you access to confidential family financial systems. Access that Daniel provided specifically to frame me for embezzlement. Or access you used to actually commit embezzlement, then blamed on Daniel when you were caught." The lawyer smiled like a predator. "Isn't that more plausible than this elaborate conspiracy theory?" "Objection," the prosecutor called. "Argumentative." "Sustained," the judge said wearily. This was the 10th day of testimony. Maya had been on the stand for 6 hours. Her throat was raw, her head pounded. And across the courtroom, Daniel sat at the defense table looking wounded and sympathetic in a tailored suit, his shoulder wound from Ryan's bullet carefully hidden. He looked like the victim. Maya looked like the villain. "Let's talk about Catherine Chen," the defense attorney continued. "You claim Daniel murdered her. Yet there's no body, no forensic evidence linking Daniel to any crime scene, just the testimony of a traumatized 7-year-old who's been coached by you and Ryan Kim." "Min-Jun wasn't coached," Maya said through gritted teeth. "He witnessed a murder. A murder you can't prove happened." The lawyer moved closer. "Convenient, isn't it, that the supposed victim's body has never been found? Because Daniel buried her in the East Garden under the cherry tree. An area that was excavated and revealed nothing." The lawyer's smile widened. "No body, no bones, no evidence of any burial at all, which means either Daniel is the world's most skilled murderer or Min-Jun's testimony is fantasy." Maya's stomach dropped. She looked at the prosecutor who sat stone-faced, unable to help. They'd excavated the garden. They'd found nothing. Catherine's body was gone. Daniel had moved her. Sometime between Ryan's warning and the FBI raid, Daniel had relocated the evidence. Maya's voice cracked. Min-Jun saw what his uncle Ryan wanted him to see," the defense attorney interrupted. "And you, Miss Torres, saw an opportunity to destroy Daniel and position yourself as the hero, perhaps even as the next Mrs. Ryan Kim." "Objection." The prosecutor was on his feet. "Speculation. Your Honor, this is outrageous." "Withdrawn." The lawyer turned away, satisfied. No further questions." Maya left the stand feeling gutted. In the gallery, her mother sat with tears streaming down her face. Beside her, Min-jun looked small and broken, his grandmother's arm around his shoulders. And in the back row, Ryan watched with an expression that made Maya's chest ache. He'd warned her this would be brutal. She hadn't believed him. That night, Maya sat in the safe house the FBI had provided, staring at her phone as social media tore her apart. Maya the manipulator was trending. Someone had leaked her address, and her studio in Brooklyn had been vandalized. Death threats flooded her email. Former clients canceled classes, not wanting the controversy. Her business was dead. Her reputation was destroyed, and Daniel Kim might actually walk free. "Stop reading that garbage." Ryan appeared in the doorway carrying takeout bags that smelled like Chinese food. "You're torturing yourself." "They think I made it all up," Maya said numbly. "They think I'm lying about everything." "They're wrong." He set the food on the coffee table and sat beside her, close enough that his shoulder pressed against hers. Solid, warm, real. "The jury has seen the evidence. They know the truth." "Do they?" "Because from where I'm sitting, the defense just shredded my credibility." Maya's laugh was bitter. "No body, no forensic evidence, just my word against Daniel's. And he's rich, charming, and wounded. I'm the broke outsider with a motive." "You also have the embezzlement documentation, the financial records proving he framed you, Sofia Rodriguez's suicide note with his fingerprints." Ryan caught her chin, turning her face toward his. "And you have me, testifying tomorrow that Daniel confessed to Catherine's murder during a family meeting, that I've been investigating him for years. They'll say you're lying to protect your reputation, that this is a power struggle and I'm caught in the middle." "Maybe." His thumb brushed her cheekbone, a gesture so gentle it made her throat close. "But I'll be lying under oath, in front of cameras, risking everything. That counts for something." "Why are you doing this?" Maya whispered. "You could have let Daniel kill me, cleaned up the mess quietly, protected the family name." "Because you remind me that some things are worth protecting more than reputation." Ryan's hand slid from her face to rest against her chest, over her heart. "You're brave. You're good. You gave my nephew his voice back. You stood up to a killer when most people would have run. That's not nothing, Maya. That's everything." She kissed him. Didn't think about it. Didn't plan it. Just closed the distance and pressed her mouth to his. He tasted like coffee and determination, and when his arms came around her, she felt safe for the first time in weeks. The kiss deepened. His hands tangled in her hair. Her fingers gripped his shirt, holding on like he was the only thing keeping her from drowning. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Ryan rested his forehead against hers. "This is a terrible idea," he said roughly. "You're a witness. I'm a witness. The defense will use this against us." "I don't care." Maya's hands fisted in his shirt. "I'm tired of being afraid. Tired of playing it safe. If the jury thinks I'm guilty, they think I'm guilty. At least I'll have this." "This," Ryan repeated. "What is this, Maya?" "I don't know yet." She met his eyes, seeing the scars and the exhaustion and the fierce protectiveness that had saved her life. "But I want to find out. After the trial. After everything settles, I want to find out what this could be." His kiss was his answer, gentle this time, almost reverent, like she was something precious he'd fought to keep. They ate cold Chinese food and fell asleep on the couch, tangled together, and for a few hours Maya let herself believe that maybe, possibly, she could survive this nightmare and have something beautiful on the other side. Ryan testified the next day. He was devastating on the stand, calm, credible, unshakable. He detailed Daniel's confession during a private family meeting. He explained the years of investigation, the pattern of dead women, the embezzlement scheme designed to frame Maya and discredit Ryan's leadership. The defense attorney tried to rattle him, failed completely. "Isn't it true you wanted Daniel removed from the family business?" "Yes," Ryan said flatly, "because he's a murderer. Or because you wanted sole control of the Kim empire." "I already have control. My father named me successor years ago. Killing Daniel's girlfriends doesn't change the line of succession. But it does remove a rival. Daniel stopped being a rival the moment he killed his first victim." Ryan leaned forward, his voice going cold. "This isn't about business. It's about justice for Catherine Chen, Sofia Rodriguez, and the other women my brother destroyed. If protecting them damages the family name, so be it. The courtroom went silent. That night, the tide started turning. Social media slowly shifted from Nihra, Maya the manipulator, to believe Maya. People dug up Sophia's case, found inconsistencies in the suicide ruling. Anonymous sources leaked information about Daniel's past, restraining orders from college, assault charges that had been quietly settled, a pattern of violence against women that the Kim family money had buried. The prosecution called Min Jun as their final witness. The 7-year-old walked to the stand with his grandmother holding his hand. He looked terrified, but when the prosecutor asked him what he'd seen that night in the garden, Min Jun spoke clearly. "Uncle Daniel killed Miss Catherine. I watched from my window. He strangled her by the cherry tree. Then he buried her. Then he came to my room and said if I ever told anyone, he'd kill Halmione." The defense attorney didn't cross-examine, couldn't. Attacking a traumatized child on national television would have destroyed what little sympathy Daniel had left. The jury deliberated for 8 hours. Maya sat in the courthouse hallway with Ryan's hand in hers, both of them silent, waiting. Min Jun slept against his grandmother's shoulder. The prosecutor paced. Security kept the media at bay. When the bailiff called them back, Maya's legs barely held her. "On the charge of conspiracy to commit murder," the jury foreman read, "we find the defendant guilty." Maya's knees buckled. Ryan caught her, held her upright. "On the charge of attempted murder, guilty. On the charge of embezzlement and fraud, guilty." Daniel's face went white. His lawyers started talking rapidly, already planning appeals. "On the charge of first-degree murder in the death of Sofia Rodriguez, guilty." Maya pressed her face into Ryan's chest and sobbed. Not relief, not yet, but something close, something that felt like survival. The judge sentenced Daniel to life without parole, 4 life sentences, to be served consecutively. The Kim family empire was intact but forever marked by scandal. And Maya Torres, the tutor from Harlem, walked out of the courthouse into camera flashes and shouted questions with Ryan Kim's arm around her shoulders. She'd survived. Against every odd. Against a killer who'd murdered 4 women before her. She'd survived because she'd danced with the wrong brother, and the right one had pulled her aside. 3 months after the trial, Maya still woke up screaming. Nightmares came in fragments, Daniel's hands around her throat, the gun pressed to her temple, Catherine Chen's face in photographs, smiling and alive and unaware she had days left. Sometimes Maya dreamed she was the one buried under the cherry tree, dirt filling her mouth while Daniel stood above, watching with those shark eyes. She'd wake up gasping, tangled in sheets, her heart trying to punch through her ribs. Tonight was no different. Maya jerked awake at 3 a.m. in her new apartment in Manhattan, the one Ryan had insisted on paying for despite her protests. Safe, secure, 24-hour doorman, cameras everywhere. Nothing like her old Brooklyn studio that had been destroyed by vandals and death threats. Her phone showed 6 missed calls, all from her mother. Maya dialed back, her hands still shaking from the nightmare. "Mija," her mother answered on the first ring. "Thank God. I've been trying to reach you for hours." "I'm fine, Mama, just sleeping." "Have you seen the news?" Her mother's voice was tight with worry. "They're saying Daniel's lawyers filed an appeal. They're trying to overturn the verdict." Maya's stomach dropped. "What?" "Some technicality about Min Jun's testimony. They're claiming he was coached, that the prosecution violated procedural rules. The judge is reviewing it." Her mother's voice cracked. "Maya, what if they let him out? What if he comes after you?" "He won't." Maya forced confidence she didn't feel. The evidence was overwhelming. The appeal won't go anywhere. But after hanging up, Maya couldn't shake the dread. She pulled up news sites on her laptop. Her mother was right. Daniel's defense team had found a technicality. Something about Min Jun's forensic interview not following proper protocol. They were arguing his entire testimony should be thrown out. Without Min Jun's testimony, the prosecution's case became circumstantial. The embezzlement charges would stick. But murder? That became harder to prove without an eyewitness. Maya's phone buzzed. "Ryan." "Ryan, I'm outside. Buzz me up." She hadn't seen him in 2 weeks. After the trial, they'd mutually agreed to take space. The media scrutiny was suffocating. Every interaction between them became tabloid fodder. Kim Air romance's star witness. Power couple or conspiracy? The headlines made her sick. But right now, she needed him. Maya buzzed him in and opened her apartment door. Ryan looked exhausted, his suit rumpled. shadows under his eyes that said he hadn't slept any better than she had. "You saw the news," he said, not a question. "Is it real? Can they actually overturn the conviction?" "They can try." Ryan stepped inside, closing and locking the door behind him with automatic precision. The procedural violation is legitimate. The forensic interviewer who talked to Min Jun wasn't properly certified. Defense is arguing the entire interview should be inadmissible, which means Min Jun would have to testify again. Yes, in a new trial, with more aggressive cross-examination, more media attention, more trauma. Ryan's jaw tightened. He's 7 years old, Maya. He's already had nightmares for 2 years. Testifying the first time nearly broke him. I can't ask him to do it again. So what do? We find Catherine's body. Ryan moved to her window, looking out at the Manhattan skyline like answers might be written in the lights. Without it, we have no physical evidence of murder. With it, Daniel's conviction stands regardless of Min Jun's testimony. You excavated the garden. There was nothing there. Because Daniel moved her between my warning and the FBI raid. Ryan turned back, and the expression on his scarred face was something dark and determined. He had a 12-hour window. He couldn't have taken her far. She's still on the estate somewhere. The estate is 20 acres. I know, which is why I've spent the last 3 months having ground-penetrating radar sweep every inch of the property. He pulled out his phone, showing her images that looked like topographical maps. We found 3 anomalies, places where the soil density suggests something was buried in the last year. One of them is Catherine. Maya's throat closed. You want to dig them up. I want to end this, permanently, so Min Jun doesn't have to testify again, so you can stop looking over your shoulder waiting for Daniel's lawyers to find another loophole. Ryan pocketed his phone. I'm doing this tomorrow night. I wanted you to know. Why tomorrow? Because it's the anniversary of Catherine's death. Because Daniel's being held at a federal facility 40 miles away and won't know we're digging. And because if I'm going to desecrate my family's property to find a murder victim, I'd rather do it under cover of darkness. Maya studied his face, the exhaustion, the determination, the guilt he carried for not stopping Daniel sooner. You blame yourself for Catherine. I knew something was wrong. I saw the signs with Sophia. I suspected after Catherine disappeared, but I didn't have proof, and I told myself I needed more evidence before I could act. His voice went rough. 2 more women died while I was gathering evidence. So yes, I blame myself. That's not fair. You didn't kill anyone. No, but I didn't stop it either. Ryan crossed the room to stand in front of her, his hands settling on her shoulders. Which is why I'm stopping it now. For Catherine. For Sophia. For the others we don't even know about yet. And for you. I'm already safe. Are you? His grip tightened slightly. You wake up screaming. You've lost your business. You can't go back to Brooklyn without harassment. The trial destroyed your life as thoroughly as Daniel tried to. That's not safe, Maya. That's surviving. There's a difference. She wanted to argue. Couldn't. He was right. Come with me tomorrow, Ryan said quietly. Help me find Catherine. Help me make sure Daniel stays in prison where he belongs. You want me there when you dig up a body? I want you there because you deserve closure. Because you were almost victim number 5, and witnessing justice might help you sleep at night. His thumb brushed her shoulder in a gesture that was becoming familiar. And because I'm selfish enough to admit I work better when you're beside me. Maya's laugh was broken. That's the worst romantic line I've ever heard. I'm not trying to be romantic. I'm trying to be honest. His hands framed her face, tilting it up so she had to meet his eyes. I'm falling for you, Maya. Have been since you stood in that ballroom and chose to trust me instead of run. And I know the timing is terrible, and the circumstances are nightmare fuel, and you probably need therapy before you even think about dating anyone. But I need you to know. When this is over, when Daniel is permanently behind bars and you've had time to heal, I want to see where this goes. This, Maya repeated, echoing their conversation from months ago. Us. Whatever we could be without murder trials and death threats hanging over our heads. His forehead rested against hers. I want to take you to dinner somewhere normal. I want to meet your mother properly, not in a courthouse. I want to find out if what we have is real or just trauma bonding. What if it's just trauma bonding? Then we'll figure it out together. And if it's not... His mouth brushed hers, gentle and questioning. then maybe we get something good out of all this darkness." Maya kissed him back, letting herself have this moment of warmth and possibility before tomorrow's grim task. When they broke apart, she'd made her decision. "I'll come with you tomorrow. We'll find Catherine together." The next night, Maya stood in the Kim Estate's north pasture, while a small crew of Ryan's most trusted security personnel operated excavation equipment under portable floodlights. The third anomaly on the ground-penetrating radar had shown the most promising results: soil disturbance consistent with a burial roughly 8 months old. "If she's here," Ryan said beside her, his voice tight, "Minjun won't have to testify again. The forensic evidence will be enough." "And if she's not?" "Then we keep looking. We don't stop until we find her." The excavator's shovel bit into earth, pulling up loads of dark soil. Maya watched with her arms wrapped around herself, trying not to imagine what they might find. Catherine Chen had been dead for 8 months. Her body would be decomposed, unrecognizable, reduced to bones and remnants. An hour passed, then 2. The crew dug carefully, aware they were searching for human remains that would become evidence. Maya's feet went numb from standing. Her coffee went cold. Ryan never moved, his focus absolute. Then one of the crew members called out, "Sir, we found something." Ryan moved forward, Maya following. In the bottom of the excavated pit, partially exposed, was a fragment of blue fabric, the same blue of the dress Catherine wore in her last photograph. "Stop digging," Ryan ordered. "Call the FBI. Tell them we need forensic recovery team immediately." The crew backed away from the pit. Ryan pulled out his phone, making calls with clinical efficiency, and Maya stood at the edge of the grave, looking down at the evidence that would finally, permanently, put Daniel away. "We found you," Maya whispered to the woman she'd never met but whose ghost had haunted her for months. "We found you, and we're going to make sure he never hurts anyone else." The FBI arrived within the hour. They secured the scene, began the careful process of exhuming the remains. Ryan gave his statement with Maya beside him, both of them witnesses to the discovery. By dawn, the medical examiner confirmed it. Catherine Chen had been found. Cause of death, strangulation. Exactly as Minjun had testified, Daniel's appeal died that morning. The defense had no ground to stand on anymore. Physical evidence backed up the eyewitness testimony. The conviction would stand. Maya sat in Ryan's car as the sun rose over the estate, watching forensic teams work in the growing light. She should have felt relief, victory, something. Instead, she just felt tired. "It's over," Ryan said quietly, his hand finding hers. "It's finally over." "Is it?" Maya looked at him. "Daniel is in prison. Catherine was found. The conviction stands, but Minjun still has nightmares. I still have nightmares. Your family's reputation is destroyed. How is any of this over?" "Because now we get to heal." Ryan's thumb traced circles on her palm, and healing starts with knowing justice was served. Maya leaned her head on his shoulder and watched the sun rise on the first day of whatever came next. It wasn't over, not really, but maybe, possibly, it was the beginning of something better. 6 months after Catherine Chen's body was found, Maya Torres stood in her new studio in Manhattan's Koreatown, watching her students practice conversational Korean with an ease that still surprised her. She'd rebuilt, slowly, painfully, one day at a time. The old Brooklyn studio was gone, destroyed by association with the Kim family scandal, but this space was better, brighter, bigger, filled with students who didn't care about tabloid headlines, only about learning. Her phone buzzed during the break between classes. "Ryan, dinner tonight? There's something I need to ask you." Maya's stomach flipped. They'd been dating officially for 3 months now. Real dating. Coffee shops and movie theaters and normal couple things that had nothing to do with murder trials or buried bodies. It was strange and ordinary and exactly what Maya needed. But "something I need to ask you" sounded serious. "Maya, your place or mine?" "Ryan, neither. Somewhere special. I'll pick you up at 7. She spent the rest of the day distracted, wondering what he wanted to ask. Her students noticed, teasing her about being in love. She didn't deny it anymore. After everything they'd survived, pretending felt pointless. Ryan arrived at 7 sharp, dressed in dark slacks and a fitted shirt that made him look less like a corporate heir and more like the dangerous man who'd saved her life. His car was the same black sedan from that first night at the estate, but this time Maya climbed in, willingly, eagerly. "Where are we going?" she asked as they pulled into traffic. You'll see. His hand found hers on the console between them, fingers lacing together with practiced ease. How was your day? Good. Busy. I have a waiting list now for classes. That's because you're brilliant. He said it matter-of-factly, like it was obvious. People are finally seeing what I saw from the beginning. Maya's cheeks heated. 6 months, and he could still make her blush with casual compliments. They drove out of Manhattan, heading toward the coast. Maya watched the city lights give way to darkness, curious and slightly nervous. When Ryan finally parked, they were at a beachfront restaurant, elegant but not ostentatious, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean. "This is beautiful," Maya said as they were seated at a private table on the terrace. "This is where my mother brought me after my father's first heart attack," Ryan said quietly. "She told me that sometimes the only way to survive darkness is to remember light still exists, that beauty persists even when everything feels broken." "Your mother was wise." "She was." His expression went distant. "She died when I was 15. Car accident. Or that's what the official report said. I've always suspected Daniel's involvement, but I could never prove it." Maya's hand covered his. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. I made peace with it years ago." Ryan turned his hand over, palm pressing against hers. "I'm telling you because this place represents hope for me, new beginnings, and I wanted to share that with you." They ordered dinner, seafood and wine that tasted like celebration. They talked about small things, Maya's upcoming class expansion, Ryan's work transitioning the family business toward legitimate operations, Minjun's progress in therapy, how he was finally sleeping through the night. It felt normal, blessedly, impossibly normal. After dinner, Ryan led her down to the beach. They walked along the shoreline, waves lapping at their feet, the moon painting everything silver. Maya's heels dangled from her fingers. Ryan's rolled-up sleeves revealed the tattoos she'd memorized by touch over the past months. "Maya," he said, stopping suddenly, "I need to tell you something." Her heart rate kicked up. "Okay. The appeal was Daniel's last legal option. It failed. He's serving 4 life sentences with no possibility of parole. He'll die in prison." Ryan's jaw tightened, which means you're finally, truly safe. No more lawyers, no more appeals, no more threats. "I know." She'd known for weeks since the appeals court rejected Daniel's final motion. "Why does that sound like bad news?" "It's not bad news. It's—" He ran a hand through his hair, uncharacteristically nervous. "It means we no longer have external circumstances forcing us together. No shared danger, no common enemy. Just us, making a choice about what we want." Maya's chest tightened. "Are you breaking up with me?" "What? No." Ryan caught her arms, pulling her close. "God, no. The opposite. I'm trying very badly to say that I love you." The world stopped. "You love me," Maya repeated, barely breathing. "I love you." The words came easier the second time. "I love how you rebuilt your entire life without asking for help. I love that you're teaching Minjun not just Korean, but how to trust adults again. I love that you wake up fighting nightmares and still choose to be kind. I love that you survived my brother and didn't let the darkness make you cruel." His hands framed her face. "I love you, Maya Torres, and I need to know if you could possibly love me back." Tears burned her eyes. "You're asking if I could love the man who warned me I was dancing with the wrong brother? The man who built a case for months to protect me? The man who held me while I cried through panic attacks and never once made me feel weak? Yes." "Ryan." She laughed through tears. "I've been in love with you since you grabbed my hand mid-waltz and told me he'd kill me, but you wouldn't. I just didn't know if I was allowed to feel it." "Why wouldn't you be allowed?" "Because you're you, CEO of a multi-billion-dollar empire, head of one of the most powerful families in New York, and I'm a language tutor from Harlem who got caught in your family's nightmare." "You're the woman who brought down a serial killer," Ryan corrected. "You're the woman who saved my nephew's sanity. You're the woman who chose to fight instead of run when most people would have fled the country." His thumb brushed away her tears. "You're not caught in my family's nightmare, Maya. You're the reason we woke up from it." She kissed him then, tasting salt and ocean and the promise of something she'd thought she'd lost forever. Hope. His arms came around her, holding her like she was precious, breakable, worth protecting. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Ryan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Maya's heart stopped. "This isn't a proposal," he said quickly. "Not yet. Not until you're ready. But this is a promise." He opened the box, revealing a simple silver ring with a small diamond. "A promise that I'll wait as long as you need, that I'll be here when the nightmares fade, that I'll build something good with you out of all this darkness. Ryan, you don't have to answer now. Take the ring. Wear it or don't. Keep it as a reminder that someone loves you without conditions, without expectations, without needing you to be anything other than exactly who you are." Maya took the box with shaking hands. The ring was beautiful, understated, elegant, nothing like the blood-red ruby Daniel had given her as a trap. This was different. This was real. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Anything." "That first night at the gala, when you grabbed my hand, did you know then that you'd fall for me?" Ryan's smile was soft. "No. That night, I just wanted to save you. But somewhere between watching you comfort my nephew and seeing you refuse to break under Daniel's attacks and holding you while you testified, I realized I wasn't just protecting you anymore. I was falling. And by the time Catherine's body was found, I'd already hit the ground. That's the most morbidly romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. We had a morbid beginning. Seems fitting." He pulled her close again, his chin resting on top of her head. "So what do you say? Can a language tutor from Harlem and a reformed corporate heir make something work?" Maya slipped the ring onto her right hand. Not an engagement, but a promise. It fit perfectly. "I think we already are," she said. They stayed on the beach until midnight, talking about futures that didn't involve courtrooms or buried bodies. Ryan wanted to travel, show her soul, introduce her to the parts of his heritage that weren't stained with violence. Maya wanted to expand her studio, maybe write a book about surviving trauma, help other women recognize danger before it consumed them. They had time now, all the time in the world. When Ryan finally drove her home, he walked her to her door like a proper date, kissed her goodnight like they were normal people with normal problems. "I love you," Maya said against his mouth. "I love you too." His smile was devastating. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow I'm taking you to meet my grandmother properly, as my girlfriend, not as a witness." Is that terrifying or exciting? Both. She's both. He kissed her once more, then stepped back. "But she already likes you. You're the woman who helped take down the grandson who disappointed her. In her mind, you're family." Maya watched him leave, then went inside her apartment. The space was quiet, safe, hers. She made tea, changed into comfortable clothes, and sat by the window looking out at the Manhattan skyline. Her phone buzzed, a text from her mother. "Mama, you sound happy when you call now, really happy. I'm proud of you, Mia." "Maya, I'm getting there, Mama. Slowly but surely. Mama, that's all anyone can ask. Love you." "Maya, love you too." She set her phone down and looked at the ring on her right hand. A promise, a future, a choice she was making with open eyes and a healing heart. 6 months ago, she'd been dancing with the wrong brother, walking toward her own murder, trapped in a nightmare she didn't know how to escape. Tonight she was free, in love, alive. The nightmares still came sometimes, probably always would, but they were fading, replaced slowly by dreams of better things, of a man with scars and shadows who loved her fiercely, of a little boy learning to speak again, of a business rebuilt and a life reclaimed. Maya Torres had danced with death and survived. Now she got to dance with life, and this time she'd chosen the right partner,